Conor McGregor's recent transformation is truly mind-blowing. But hold on a second, isn't there something a tad unusual here? It's not just about the added muscle, it's like his very bones have gone through a makeover. And have you noticed how his face seems strangely puffy? It's not the kind of puffiness you'd expect from gaining a few pounds. If you were to put his before and after photos side by side, you might wonder if you're looking at two completely different people. What on earth happened to Conor McGregor? We're all familiar with Conor's incredible career in the UFC, and it's no exaggeration to say he was an absolute powerhouse during his prime, and his time in the octagon was basically filled with achievement after another. He made history by becoming the first fighter to claim championships in 2 weight divisions simultaneously. McGregor left a mark, no doubt about it. But it's been over 2 years since McGregor last set foot in the UFC, and the transformation he's undergone is wildly unexpected. I mean, the guy we see now is a far cry from the one who racked up all those titles. On May 28, 2023, a video from New Zealand boxing caught everyone's attention. It featured an interview by sports journalist Ariel Helwani with Conor McGregor, but something was clearly off. It became painfully evident that this was a Conor unlike any we'd seen before. He was clearly under the influence of alcohol, but he surprisingly mentioned he wasn't drinking that day. Throughout the interview, it was a challenge to decipher his words, and his incessant lip-licking raised eyebrows, suggesting a deeper issue. Ariel Helwani struggled to get a word in as Conor went on a rapid-fire monologue. If you check the video's comments, you'd notice lots of people thinking Conor was on something. And when YouTuber True Geordie analyzed the video, he summed it up well. This isn't the same articulate guy we remember. Conor was legendary for his trash-talking skills, famously dismantling his opponents with his words before they even entered the octagon. He could hype up a fight like nobody else, but in this interview, it seemed like he was struggling to string together a coherent sentence. So, when did this athlete's decline come? It all traces back to July 10th, 2021, when Conor faced off against Dustin Poirier for their epic third match. Now, Conor wasn't quite the fighter he once was. He had faced some tough defeats and had been somewhat laying low in the fight game for a bit. So, there was immense pressure riding on his shoulders as those first 2 minutes of the bout ticked away. We did witness glimpses of the old Conor. He seemed more agile on his feet, incorporating more leg kicks and shifting away from relying solely on his boxing skills. However, as the fight transitioned to the ground in the latter part of the first round, Poirier began to assert his dominance. Conor managed to hang on, making it back to his feet just before the round concluded. But then, everything took a nightmarish turn. When he planted his left foot, it gave way in a truly horrific fashion. Conor was hurriedly stretchered out of the arena, heading straight for a lengthy 3-hour surgery that involved the insertion of rods, plates, and screws into his shattered leg. Thankfully, the surgical intervention was a success, but it became clear that Conor wouldn't be returning to the octagon anytime soon. Recovering from such a gruesome injury is an uphill struggle. I mean, we're talking about his leg literally snapping in two. And let's be real here, no one in the realm of combat sports has ever managed to fully bounce back from such a catastrophic setback and return to the ring the same, let alone better. Conor was well aware of the journey ahead, and his support team undoubtedly brainstormed strategies to speed up his recovery. Shortly after his surgery, Conor withdrew from the U.S. anti-doping agency testing pool, a standard protocol for active UFC fighters which subjects them to random drug tests. With drug testing temporarily off the table, you can imagine what many potential aids are open for a quick recovery. And there we see it. Gone was the lean and agile fighter we once knew. Instead, he seemed to be morphing into a more robust version of himself, with his arms, neck, and traps noticeably bulking up. However, the changes didn't stop there. Conor's facial features appeared to undergo a dramatic thinning, and some even speculated that his hands had followed suit. His complexion took on a subtle pinkish hue, a stark departure from his previous appearance. His visage acquired a somewhat swollen and puffy demeanor. Just a mere weight gain, you say? Far from it. Conor had managed to preserve a lean physique with minimal body fat since his last bout. Yet somehow, he underwent a remarkable increase in muscle mass. What's more, his battle with hair loss reached such a point that he boldly decided to shave his head. By December 2021, we wouldn't even recognize this guy. As 2022 rolled in, discussions about Conor's return to the UFC began circulating, accompanied by intense scrutiny of his new physique. Rumors circulated that Conor had not been subjected to USADA testing since the third quarter of 2021, prompting accusations from several UFC fighters regarding potential steroid use. By that time, pretty much everyone had their own little theories about what was going on with him. To top it all, in November 2022, Conor shaved off his trademark beard, showing all the alterations to his face. And I gotta tell you, he looked like a whole different dude, which got people talking big time. It was hard to ignore the idea that something unusual was happening. With all the talk and speculation swirling around, people were tossing out all kinds of ideas. Some said he might have gone for plastic surgery to explain the jaw-dropping change. But then, he claimed his altered face was the result of a crazy household accident way back in 2013. According to Conor, he was tearing around his own house, had a clumsy slip, and took a major hit to his chin. Now, while Conor's story might sound a bit wild, he stood by it and said his jawline only started changing in 2021 because he took a break from his rehab. However, there remained another plausible explanation for these changes: the use of human growth hormone. Think about this. Why did he make the choice to step out of the USADA testing pool? Well, it's true that human growth hormone is on their no-go list, but this particular substance can bring about some rather remarkable physical shifts. We're talking about things like enlarged hands and feet, a more prominent set of facial features, and skin that takes on a thicker texture. But here's where it gets really intriguing. Human growth hormone is renowned for its superpower-like ability to fast-track the recovery process after an injury. It can work wonders, speeding up the healing of bones and even muscle tissue. That might just be the key to why he decided to give it a go post his leg fracture in 2021. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen these kinds of changes in the public eye. Take Joe Rogan, Sylvester Stallone, and the Liver King, for example. They had been pretty upfront about their past use of human growth hormone. So, we are not new to this. Still, it's doubtful that human growth hormone is the only substance in his regimen, given the hints of steroid use he's dropped along the way. Those changes in Conor's appearance that just won't quit suggest the substances he started with during his recovery might still be in play, even though he's back on his feet. As they say, the more you take, the more you need. Conor appears to have thoroughly embraced the party culture since his injury, including plenty of drinks and what appears to be some drug experimentation. When you couple this with his rumored use of growth hormones and steroids, it raises significant questions about his overall well-being. Now, the million-dollar question everyone's itching to answer: when's McGregor making his triumphant return to the octagon? While a showdown against Michael Chandler is on the horizon for later this year, the details remain shrouded in secrecy. As of this moment, you won't spot Conor's name on the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency's list of tested UFC fighters for the current year. To step back into the cage, he'll need to rejoin the testing pool and clock in at least 6 months of clean results. So, the possibility of his return? Well, it's looking more like 2024 rather than this year. Furthermore, there's been no official word on whether or not he intends to make that comeback at all. Could it be that the break in his leg has also shattered his entire career? Let me know your opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more interesting content. See you soon.